Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I'm not sure if Xiaowei is going to be making the call today. Jimmy, did she reach out to you by any chance, or should I be leading the call?
Oh, yes, hello. She did mention that she's going to be away and unavailable today and in the next breakout call. And I'll be helping to just to moderate these two calls. So it looks like we've got enough people here. Maybe we should get started. So this is PeerDAS breakout room for those that just joined. I think we've got a few teams here. Maybe we can get started with client updates. I can probably start with Lighthouse. We've made quite a bit of progress in the last 2 weeks, and I think we are PeerDAS definitely full ready. I mean, at least for interop. We've got PeerDAS activation at Fulu, and we are running the latest Electra code. We've got some decoupling working as well. I've tested like local devnets, and it's been working pretty well. But I've also tried interrupting with Prism, and unfortunately, when we transition to Fulu, we're getting a state root mismatch. So I'm still looking into that. So that's pretty much my update. I'm going to continue to look into the state root mismatch issue, and maybe we can talk about more when Manu talks about his pre-devnet test scenarios. That's it from Lighthouse. Okay, who else is here? I'll pass them over to Manu.
Yep.
You want to give an update?
Hello, everyone. So during the last 2 weeks, we implemented the custody group count in place of custody subnet count. Also, we work on the replacement of the C KZG library by the Go KZG library. Right now, the Go KZG library still needs about 2 times more time to compute the KZG stuffs. It's probably because the Go KZG does not use the precompute, while the C KZG use the precompute, and Kev is working on that. Also, we started to implement validator custody. Yes, it's very early right now. And I will try to investigate why we have this state root mismatch with the Lighthouse today. And that's all for my updates for Prism. Thank you. Maybe Teku?
we have not finished all needed updates, so we have transitioned to full, but we have not completed decoupling custody groups. I'm currently working on it. So I think I will finish it very soon and start testing. That's all.
Thank you, Dimitri. Pass to Lodestar. Maybe Matt or someone else from Lodestar.
Yeah. So got stuff rebased to Fulu. Had a bug in testing that took a little bit of issue to resolve, but it actually wasn't in the Fulu code. It was somewhere else. So got that resolved, but it stopped us from finishing the decoupling. So we're going to continue working on that this week.
Nice. Thank you. Have we got Grandin here?
I can speak for Grandin. So Grandin right now, we already moving the PeerDAS code activation into Fulu, and we already implement the decouplings network subnet, and right now we are try to stress test our reconstruction flow, because right now there are a few things that seem to be like patchy code, so we try to stress test the reconstruction flow.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have we got Nimbus? Don't see anyone from Nimbus here. Right, okay. It looks like we don't have Nimbus. We can talk about DevNets. We don't have a DevNets yet, but I think last time we agreed on a DevNet spec, and everyone's been working towards it. Does anyone have any comments on the current DevNet spec?
Are there any PRs we should be tracking or adding to this, by the way?
I'm not aware of any PR. I think the only thing that I know that's work in progress is validated custody, and it looks like Manu and Justin's made some progress on the validated custody PR. Yeah, I think for the validated custody, it's currently optional, and if teams want to work on it, we're free to work on it because it's compatible. Do we know what's the status of that PR? Does anyone want to give an update?
Yeah, on the PR, I just added some modification because the PR was working with validator with custody subnet count and not custody group count. And yes, just the modification I did is to modify to move to custody group count. But apart of that, I don't know.
Okay, in that case, I've updated the consensus spec version to use 150 beta 0. So that should be the last consensus spec release that's happened and is compatible with Vectra DevNet 5 as well.
Yeah.
In case there's some missing PRs, then let either me or Justin know, and I think we can make a release.
But unless I'm mistaken, there is no the custody group test in beta 0. There are in alpha 10, but not in beta 0.
Ah, got it. Would you prefer I then pin alpha 10?
I mean, I don't know if there is other difference at this test, custody group test. What I did in Prism, I use beta 0 plus the test. That's all. I have no preference.
Okay, maybe I can then text Justin to have something released for the PeerDAS folks so that there's one version or one release line that is easier to track.
Nice.
Great, thanks. Is the custody group spec test part of beta 0 or was it part of alpha 10?
They are part of alpha 10 currently, not beta 0.
Oh, okay, great. So there's no change in beta 0. Okay, cool. Nice. So it looks like most teams are still working on subnet decoupling, and we're probably not ready for DevNet until another I don't know how many weeks. Does anyone want to give an update? I think at the moment Lighthouse and Prism are ready for interop, but we're running into issue, but we'll continue to look into that. I think looks like Teku, Lodestar, and Grenia are all working on subnet decoupling and Fulu. So do we think maybe we can like talk about this in the next breakout call, or do we want to talk about a date? Seems like we probably need to get some pre-DevNet testing going first, right?
Yeah, I think I'd be more comfortable if we did integration testing, Kurtosis style, before we really go to DevNet.
Cool, sounds good. So we'll continue to work on that.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention is I think over the last day, the standalone Prism DevNet also, like 6 hours ago, started failing. So I can do an enclave dump and send it across, but it does still look like the 5 to 6 day mark is when DevNets start to fail. This is Prism with itself, so there's no interop complexity, there's nothing else. This is just, yeah.
Can you send logs?
Yes, I can do an enclave dump and send it across.
Nice. Thanks.
But that also then sounds to me that even once we have, or the moment we have a Lighthouse Prism interop, we should just throw it on this Kubernetes cluster and just leave it alone for like 4 or 5 days. And as and when more clients come in, we just keep increasing this number. And once we have some confidence, I think we're ready for a public DevNet.
Sounds good. Thank you, Perry. Any more DevNet updates, or otherwise we can move on to spec discussions if there's anything.
Yeah, about the testing approach, I have some document I want to share after Paris.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Just mainly seeing if it feels like we should change some approach we're taking. 5 days to figure out that something's broken feels weird.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe, I don't know, I have to check, but maybe you have some memory leak. Should be the most potential issue. Because yes, 5 days for a memory leak is still possible.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's a memory leak, then I think I can still live with it. I think if it's more of a question of some sample came in some weird order that triggered a bug, that feels a bit more scary because that feels harder to nail down.
Definitely, yeah.
Katya?
Yeah, hi everyone. So I've done with the Prism metrics. If Manu has some time to check it, probably before the DevNet, we can integrate them, and we'll have Lighthouse and Prism metrics for the DevNets.
Thanks. Sure, I will check your pull request today.
Thank you.
One more sort of add-on thing, because Manu/Jimmy posted the test scenarios. We have this thing, it's just a makefile and a script that can do a sync test. So just modify the kurtosis-config YAML file to include the PeerDAS config, and then you can do, I think, make sync test or make run. And what it does is it spins up the network. It waits until a defined epoch. It turns off one node, then it waits a defined period of time, and then it starts the node back on. So it makes sure that you're syncing back to head. And if you sync back to head, then it passes, otherwise it fails. So this should cover scenario 2, and it should mean that you can also test this with just a Prism network, just a Lighthouse network, then do cross and increase the coverage space.
Thank you.
Can we somehow test reconstruction? Or it's just a local story?
Is there any particular scenario that you want to test? Because reconstruction should be happening pretty much like all the time, or like every once in a while on supernodes.
Oh, okay, then okay.
I have in my document, I have a reconstruction specific scenario. It's scenario number 4.
Okay, great.
Where you Let me repass the link in the chat. Well, yes, you ensure that all your fixture nodes does not all the fixture nodes do withhold data columns on purpose when proposing a block to force the tested node to reconstruct and reseed missing data columns. It is scenario number 4. Scenario number 1 is just a standard run, nothing special, and scenario number 2 and 3 are scenario when you want your testing node to be able to sync from Genesis up to the tip of the chain.
Yeah, thanks. And the last question, do this custody group somehow changes our custody metric or not? I don't know, Jimmy, maybe you know.
Maybe. I have to check.
So which metric?
The custody column number. It's the last metric. I will quickly share these.
Is that the metric that counts the number of custody columns in the database?
Yes, yes. Exactly. Last one, vacant custody columns count.
It
Yes.
seems... sorry, go.
Sorry. Yeah, I added that comment because I was curious if we have a standard metrics for tracking how many columns the node is custodying or how many custody group the node is assigned to. I think we do have some metrics on that, but I don't know if we need to standardize it. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Maybe, yes, we can standardize a number of custody groups, especially with validator custody. It could be a useful metric.
We can try on Prism then and see, maybe Lighthouse as well. Okay, I will look through that. Thank you.
And so, yeah, the idea of this PeerDAS DevNet test scenarios is, I think, before, well, it's always quicker to debug stuff in a local kurtosis DevNet than in a real DevNet. And so, if ideally each client team could run all the scenarios against all other client team, and so to get the matrix all green, normally, if everybody do that, at the end, the official DevNet should run ideally without any issue. Hopefully. And for sure, it's faster to debug when there is some issue on your local computer than waiting for something to fail on the DevNet.
So, Manny, are you saying that we can basically look at the scenario you listed and update that table that you have on your document?
Yeah, for example. So there is one table per client. On the current table, for example, you can see that Prism pass the scenario pass all the scenario with Prism, and Prism does not pass the scenario with Lighthouse, the scenario 1A. And for all other scenarios, we don't know yet. And yes, if each client team can have the same table, and ideally with all the green check marks, it can bring some confidence before launching the next DevNet. Of course, it's optional. There is nothing mandatory.
Yeah, nice. I think the one thing I noticed when I was doing local DevNet testing is whenever a fork happens, it's usually like, at least for Lighthouse, it's usually something to do with peer scoring. Like we usually fork when we like ban and disconnect a peer. So I think scoring is probably something that that we probably want to keep a close eye on. We fixed a few bugs in Lighthouse regarding scoring, so hopefully we can survive a bit longer once we get the interop issue fixed. All right, great. Does anyone have any open topic, any topic for discussion? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to make sure it was the PeerDAS break room somewhere before the DEF CON where we decided that we don't need a KZG single verification metric. And just to make sure if anyone agree with that, so I will finally delete it. No one use single KZG verification.
I think I use single KZG verification when I receive a colon from Gossip.
Or we can try to put it on the dashboard for those clients who have it. I don't know if it makes sense, but we can just try to monitor. Probably it would be helpful for someone, I don't know. Like not necessary for implementation, but for those who have it. I think Lighthouse also uses single KZG, right?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I have to check.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right, cool. Looks like we have a relatively short one. And it looks like we're on track now to at least once we have custody group count implemented and full activation implemented, we're probably in a good state to try to stabilize sync at least and interop a bit more. And then I guess the last bit to have a production ready PeerDAS implementation is about the custody. I think we might have some more discussion, maybe some more next week, because we also just started looking into the better custody design as well. It's like from our first look with Lion, we think it's a bit there's a bit of complexity there because we have to basically like dynamically adjust the custody group and dynamically adjust the count. So it's a bit tricky. I guess there's a few scenarios. So I think what we're thinking is maybe we could do something like only allow the custody group count to increase, but not decrease. Has anyone have any thoughts about that?
Why not allowing to decrease? I mean, it's simpler to allowing to decrease than to increase, because if you want to decrease, you don't have to backfill all the blobs. You just need to, yes, to decrease it and to unsubscribe to some subnets and to announce via metadata and node record that you custody less groups than before. I don't see the difficulty to reduce the custody group count. I do see the difficulty to increase it, but not to decrease it.
Yeah, I guess I guess the challenge is when you update the CGC in the metadata to your peers, you tell your peers that you custody those columns, right? So then you have to go and backfill like that like those new columns for the last like 18 days. And then I think dynamically changing that is kind of like you basically have to manage the backfill process. If it happens frequently, then you might run into issues. I think it's a bit of complexity to manage there, but we haven't looked deep enough to have a solution yet.
And just a question, what method do you use for the beacon node to be aware of all the validator clients he manage? Do you use, I guess, beacon API call from validator clients? And what method do you use?
I think we use an endpoint that whenever we attach a validator, it sends a post request to the beacon committee API.
Okay.
I think.
So
Beacon
yeah,
I think
committee
we used to do that. Sorry?
The beacon committee subscription?
Yeah, I think so. I think we used to do that for attestation subnets as well, but it was removed afterward. Like it was removed in the last year or something. But I think it might be that endpoint, but I'm not 100% sure.
Cool. I wanted to use this as well.
Okay, great. Anyone else have anything to talk about before we close the call? Nice. So I think our next step is basically our team trying to get DevNet full, working locally with their own client, and then try to do interop testing with other clients using hosts, and try out manual scenarios, and then we can start doing more interop, and hopefully we have a DevNet in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, that's all for today. So we're finishing early. Thank you, everyone. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you all.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.